Sunana, I'm sorry I'm interviewing your material, but actually I wanted to introduce my very dear friend, Dr. Bharti Srinivasan. Dr. Bharti is a poet, translator, and an assistant professor of English at Srinivas Ramanujan Center, Safra Deemed University, Coimbatore. She is a keen poet and a translator. She's translated poems, short stories, and novel. Her poems and anthologies. She's written a lot of poems and anthologies. She's translated two short stories collections, five poetry anthologies, and a novel in Tamil language. She has been awarded by the Best Faculty Award and the Best Translator Award in 2020 by Cape Comorin Trust itself. So, besides, she has also participated and presented many papers, and she has chaired many sessions, and she has been working a lot on the journals and has been presenting papers. So, it's my privilege to welcome you, Dr. Bharti, with us to chair our today's session.
Thank you, Dr. Shubha, for your wonderful introduction. It is my delight and great pleasure to be amidst all those stalwarts of education as well as teaching. Uh, so that's why I wanted to join a little bit earlier so that I can listen to some of your plenary sessions. This COVID has really brought us all together in the virtual platform. Otherwise, we scattered and may be able to attend such great programs, conferences. And I thank the organizers and especially Cape Comorin Trust, Lavender Literary Club, as well as my dear friend Shubra for this wonderful introduction. I think with this, I can move over to the paper presentations now. So we have totally 4 papers in my session on various aspects of language teaching, like English for employability and role of games and activities, then behavioral attitudes for special education, as well as multilingualism. I think that all these papers will be interesting to the audience. So let me call upon the first paper presenter, Dr. Preetham Tagore. She's assistant professor in English, Vidya Parishan, Indapur district, Pune. Her topic is English for employability, need of English language training for engineering graduates in India. I welcome you, ma'am. Over to you, Dr. Preetham.
Good morning, ma'am. I'm not. I'm a male, not female.
Sorry. I mistook. Yeah.
Okay, let it be. It seems that from my name, many of confused. They get confused that Preetham is the name of female and male as well.
Because I remember Amrita Preetham.
Yes, of course. But I'm male. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Let it be. Please. Let it be. Let me introduce in brief and let me start with my paper.
Sure, sir.
I am Dr. Preetham Thakur. I am assistant professor in English in Pune district of Maharashtra. I have 12 years of teaching experience. I have a doctoral degree and that's it. And I have been teaching in an engineering college since 12 years. So from my research and from my teaching, from my experiential learning, I have prepared this paper and I will make just an oral presentation of my paper. So may I start?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Please. Over to you.
The title of my paper is, as ma'am has said earlier, that English for employability, need of English language training for engineering graduates in India. It's a matter of green concern that the students of engineering discipline, they treat English not as a language, but more as a subject. It is from my experience that I have observed even management or the college superiors, they emphasize on getting result They want all the students to pass in the subject. So the treatment given by students as well as the professors teaching at undergraduate level in our area is students treat English not as a language, they treat as a subject as good as physics and chemistry. Hmm? In the same way, they learn, they unlearn the things, and due to this lapse, treating as a subject, they cannot go further for learning four fundamental skills of language learning, that is listening, speaking, reading, and writing. If the teachers and entire scenario of teaching learning in engineering discipline changed, and if we induce our students or train our students that English is a language, not as a subject, then automatically they will change their approach looking at the subject. Another thing, see, there are a number of students getting degrees according to India Today research in 2013 across Indian universities. There are many students, near about 25% of engineer students, they don't have a comprehension skills in English. And even 57% of 57% of graduates in engineering discipline. It's a survey of AC Math, that is Aspiring Minds Computer Aptitude. That is the survey, and they cannot. 57% of engineers cannot make grammatically correct sentences, and it has been found that they are incapable of English fluency, incapable of producing themselves. They have poor presentation skills. They are good at hard skills. They are good at their engineering subjects. No problem. But when the question of presentation, when the question of group discussion, when the question of presentation, or when the question of self-presentation is raised, then there is a confusion. So to cure this, so what are these problems and how to tackle this? So from my point of view, that there are lack of trained professors, and there is a substantial training for English professors in engineering discipline, and students are coming from urban area, semi-urban area, rural area, and they are sitting in the same class. So there are different categories of students to them, judging on equal parallels or judging on equal grounds. It's very difficult task. There are some students where they are very sharp. There are some students that are very poor. We cannot tackle them as in a class. That's the problem. We have to categorize them. We have to separate them. And there is a strength of the students. Take it for granted, 60 per class. 60 students per class. It's a large number, I think. Therefore, we cannot concentrate personally on the students. And the prescribed syllabus is not what industry demands. What are the industry demands? According to not the industry demands. And in English, more emphasis is put on the written examination, not on oral or spoken aspect of the language. So if you want to make a personality development of these budding engineers, we should make overall development of the skills. We should treat them in such a way, we should teach them in such a way that English should become as a passport for their career. And there is another thing that I came across from my experiential learning, that is pressure is so high on teachers to produce high class percentage result in final examinations. And the textbook which contains assignments or projects, they are in a form of they are in written form. And if there are 2 or 3 practicals or 2 or 3 projects which emphasize on spoken aspect of the language, but or presentation skills or any digital presentation, students they don't dare to come forward and give presentation. That's the phenomenal change that we want to make to raise their employability. Another thing is lack of support from higher authorities, and English is considered as it is taught in non-competent methodologies and traditional methodologies, and it is treated more as a subject, not as a language. So that's the problem, that's the key issue which makes these graduates unemployable. They are not ready, or they are not they cannot become job ready due to this aspect. And so to focus to make them job ready, it's a key issue, and the key issue of today's scenario. So to make them job ready, teachers should be trained. Teachers should offer them interactive sessions. Teachers teaching should be interactive. It should not be one-way teaching. So these are some of the key factors that I want to highlight from the papers that can definitely make a difference in a type of learning and teaching scenario. And by the way, we can achieve uh, employability in our graduate engineering graduate students, and we can emphasize on them that English not as a subject, but it's a language which can be learned as you have learned your mother tongue. When you are learning mother tongue, there is a no class, there is no teacher, there is no course book, there is no workbook. Thereafter, just by listening, speaking, just you get hand over your mother tongue in the same way. If you habituate yourself to listen to English, to speak English, to read, write English, and to write English, if you focus on the first two skills, that is listening, give, and there are ample opportunities to listen to maximum English. Means teacher should give him opportunity, give the students opportunity to listen to English continuously, because they are just their English class, they are just limited to their English class only. Once the English class is over, students are not able to read and write, and even they are not able to speak. Any other time after class, meanwhile in college timing, they are speaking in their mother tongue. So they should be given a platform to present themselves, and the teacher should have make interactive sessions in a class. The teaching should not be one-sided or lecture method. That should be interactive, participative. Each and every student from the class should participate in the discussion, and with the help of making a forums and discussions, we can make we can make them energetic, or we can raise their enthusiasm to speak out, to express themselves, whatever that may be a broken English, let it be, but it will be a kind of a good start, good platform for them to make necessary corrections. And by the way, we can make a development of their presentation skills. And once the presentation skills are developed, there is no way that it's a very easy thing to make them competent in group discussions, and later on we can make them very excellent in their interview skills as well. While teaching, the teacher has to give the training of presentations. In Maharashtra, what happens? There is a large number of impact on the students. There is a large number of impact of mother tongue impact on my students. They talk as good, they talk English as they are talking in Marathi. So this mother tongue, to remove this mother tongue influence, students should be given or taught in such a way that they should be taught they should be taught, and they should have an automated learning environment. Means skill-based learning. We should give them such a platform that they should involve, they should engage themselves in these activities. And by the way, there are ample opportunities to raise their competencies. And once the competencies are developed, there is no way, means it will definitely make a difference in their language learning attitude. They will change their attitude, and once the attitude is changed, definitely they will become excellent or fluent in English, and by the way, they can raise their employability skills. So English will become a type of a passport for them. So with this, I conclude my presentation, and if there are any questions, I welcome for any queries. Thank you, ma'am.
So that is an interesting and wonderful presentation by you, Dr. Preetham. So you have identified some of the various issues, not only among the learners of your area, but all over India. So all these engineering graduates, they do have this same issue which you have identified, and you have provided some kind of solution. So what I think is, I would like to add some more suggestions. Like we need to first train our faculties first, right? So to make them how to handle the activities which are interesting to our learners. See, our generation is different, and the younger generation, they're totally apart from us, and it is from our side, we need to devise some kind of syllabus which could accommodate both teachers as well as the learners. So when it comes to activity-based learning, right? So I think that whatever you have suggested should be implemented to all the engineering colleges. So as a teacher myself who is teaching engineering students, I felt those issues like mother tongue intervals and other things which you have discussed in your paper. Any questions? Shall we have some questions? Or if not, we will move on to the next presenter. We can have your questions posted, and later we can have a discussion over that. Thank you, sir, once again for your wonderful presentation.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. So let's move on to the. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So let's move on to the second presenter, Ms. Asha Kurana. She's a lecturer in English, Directorate of Education, Delhi, and her paper is on role of games and activities as educational tools in language learning classrooms. Welcome you, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, esteemed Chairperson Dr. Bharti, and all my learned colleagues, paper presenter here from India and abroad. A very good morning to all of you. Yes, topic, I teach in Delhi, in a government school in Delhi, and I too have a pretty long experience of teaching English as a second language to class 11th and 12th. As you know, let me share my presentation with you, please. Ma'am, is my screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, please carry on.
Yes, the title of my paper is Games and Activities as Educational Tool in a Language Learning Classroom. As the paper states, it is an action research. I carried out this research with my class 11th and 12th student in a government school in Delhi. I'll be starting from where Dr. Preetham left. He has been talking about that student need presentation skill, student need automatic learning environment, student need skill-based learning, and he also talked about competency-based learning that we should inculcate in our learners in our classroom. And my action research has tried to cater to all these things in my classroom. I'll be sharing how did I carry out this research with my student and what were the outcomes and the activities that I took up in my classroom. Yes, first of all, I will talk about the research objectives, the hypothesis of this research. Yes, the hypothesis that I formed: does activity-based teaching learning help to make my learner critical thinkers? Critical thinking, that we are talking a lot in this 21st century, that our students should be critical thinker. Does it help them? Does it help me to facilitate learning? These days, again, they are saying the role of the teacher is changing. Teacher should be a facilitator, not should be, say, sage on the stage. Teacher should act as a guide by the side. So the hypothesis was, does activity-based learning result in facilitation of learning? And does my activity based teaching learning will create fun filled, relaxed and conducive atmosphere for learning? Would it discourage rote learning? And would it give my student the platform to acquire the skills of language learning, that is all listening, reading, speaking and writing too? Yes, and the core I mean to say target was CBSE board exam that my student has to face at the end of class 12, and I have to cater to all the CBSE curriculum, and I had to enhance their confidence, their presentation skill, so that when they go to engineering college, teachers like Dr. Preetham should not complain that the learner are not equipped, are not able to write grammatically correct sentences, and they are not fit for the employability and all. So I have kept all those things in mind, and carried out this action research in my classroom. I mean to say, I changed my classroom transaction method of my teaching in my classroom. So the first of all, I would like to talk about the sample. This is a government school in Delhi, School of Excellence. The classes being taught were 11th and 12th class. Age group was 15 to 17 year in the age bracket, and this action research was carried out for 2 consecutive years session, 1819 and 1920. As regard the proficiency level of my learner, I would say 50% of them were proficient in the use of language already, and the other 50% or maybe 40% was at an intermediate level of language proficiency. They were 116 number. They were spread into 4 groups, 4 section of 40 each. This was the sample size. So when I started teaching them, I had this thing in my mind. Main thing was that I had to cater to the CBSE curriculum that was there, and along with that, covering the syllabus and inculcation of the skills. Uh, Ma'am, am I audible enough? Everything is going fine?
Yes,
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 ma'am.
yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
okay, okay, thank you, sir. Yes. So the main target was CBSE curriculum and giving them the practice of skills of language. And I started with activity-based teaching from the very beginning of the session when they were in class 11. Yes. Uh, and all the activities were to be aligned with the curriculum that was marked, that is prescribed by CBSE for class 11th and class 12th. So to cover, while covering that syllabus, while taking up those lesson and writing skill tasks and ASL activities and everything, I mean to say, I included certain activities in my classroom teaching, how it worked. See, these are some reading skill activities I will talk about, and all the reading skill activities were taken up while dealing with their textbook lesson. They had 2 books in class 11th and 2 books in class 12th also. Yes, when the reading of the lessons were taken up in such a manner that the not that the teacher is delivering a lecture and the teacher is explaining each and every bit of the lesson, giving them word meaning and all. No, here I ensured I was with this mindset that they should use language, they should read. I mean to say, I was not going to spoon fed them anything. They were made to, I mean to say, read and all. One activity that worked very well in my classes was reciprocal reading. How does this go? That a lesson that is there that we have taken up in the class, that was divided into parts, and the student are already in groups. This is cooperative reading strategy, groups. Every group was given a part of the lesson to prepare. I mean to say, 2 paragraph or 3 paragraph were given to each group, and the group members were, they were 4 in number, each group has, and one student will prepare a summary of that part that was given to them. Another member will prepare some question out of that part, and another will be a clarifier. Clarifier will be in the role of that he'll be answering those questions, clarifying those points, and one of the student will work on the vocabulary of that part that was allotted or given to their group. So that way, groups prepare their part in the given time slot, that was 10 minutes in the classroom. After they had prepared their parts, each group will be come on the front facing the class, and they will be presenting their part, whatever they had prepared. And in all during all this, my role was one of facilitator. I would be sitting between the student on their desks and was observing the lesson and noting down what is missing, what are the gaps, and later on in the discussion, I was filling those gaps. I mean to say, the missing part, I was supplying them. So this worked very well in my classes. And though there was initial hiccups while taking up such kind of activities in my classes, I will talk about those hiccups later on. Yes, one more reading skill activity that I usually say carry out in my classes is known as popcorn reading. It's not put here. The name popcorn is not put here. How does popcorn reading go? Popcorn reading go very well. This is an individual reading activity. The teacher utters the name or roll number of a student. Say now it is roll number 23 who will read the lesson, and the student has to pop up and read the lesson. That also make them focused and I mean to say attentive in the class, and they were there. So these are two reading skill activities that I have been taking up with them. Moving forward, this is all while we were dealing with our class chapters of their syllabus. Yes, see, this also go very well along with their textbook reading. Once the chapter is done, chapter is completed, the groups are given the task of preparing character card and event card. Character card, the characters in the lesson have to be put in this form of this card. And when students are handling such tasks in a group, they are reading, rereading, analyzing, interpreting the details of the chapter and trying to fill such cards. Character card, this is character card, and this one is event card. This went very well in my classroom for 2 consecutive years. I have been insisting, though the students were reluctant, not so complacent that ma'am will do it, and they were not happy, but still I persisted with my practices, and this thing also worked very well in my classes. Yes, and after these cards were prepared, see, how does the activities help my learner to say enjoy and learn. So see, this activity, gallery walk, the name may seem a bit fancy name. How does it go? It goes like this: when the student have prepared their character card, event card, or maybe they have written some article or some letter, that is all on the basis of or part of their curriculum syllabus. Then they have been allotted spaces in the classroom. They stand in a corner, or they display their matter on the display board. Group name of the group members are put there, and all the students move around in the room and view others cards prepared by other student, or the writing task, whatever. This activity is known as gallery walk. They can put their comment there on a post-it and paste it there. This went very well in my classroom. Student enjoy it, they love it. This goes well in classrooms. Yes, here I would like to talk about this inside outside circle activity. This again, once the lesson is done, after reading activity, when we have to take up questions with them, discussion of the issues raised by the lesson, or question answer sessions, students are taken out of the classroom. Then the class is stand in a circle, and they form two circle. One is outside circle, another is inside circle. Student keep on moving, and the teacher is takes command of the situation. When the teacher says stop, the group stop, and then they face each other. At that time, teacher throws a question to them, and the two in pair discuss. Or this activity can be improvised, changed as per the need of the say chapter or the task in hand. I mean to say, when it is revision time, at time, outer circle student ask question to the inner circle student, and at other time inner one come prepared with the have questions with them, they ask to the one who are in the outer circle. And in this way this activity goes well. This is a physical response, total physical response activity. Student love it, they demand it again and again, saying ma'am bahar le chalo na, wo inside outside circle activity kar lenge. So this creates the atmosphere bit, I mean to say, relaxed and comfortable in the classroom, and this goes well in the classroom. Yes, this is speaking skill activity. Think, pair, share. This again during dealing with the textbook lesson, this activity, each class of mine used to start with this activity, speaking skill activity. Think, pair, share. Whatever the theme or the topic of the lesson is, straight away I would throw a question or a topic to them and ask them to think on the issue, pair up with your partner, the one, sometime one who is sitting behind you, or this is sometime one who is sitting next to you, and talk about the issue. And later on some of the students were called on the floor and they are asked to share with the whole class. Think, pair, share. The time when I have to take their attendance or to arrange my things, they were involved in this activity, think, pair, share. This is speaking skill activity. All the activities were taken up with the target that student shed their inhibition. Student learn to read, learn to think, and think critically. They were taught how to analyze, how to interpret, and all that. Yes, I will be talking about the hiccups too. Yes, this again, writing skill activity. This activity went very well in my classrooms. Student of class 12th and class 11 get long writing tasks in, have long writing tasks in their curriculum. They had 10 marks article writing, 10 marks letter writing. So writing skill activities, they were taught process writing approach, meaning you have to write an article, not that straight away you can write it, you have to follow the process. And to teach them this process, I taught them with the help of simple acronyms. Students love these acronyms and they used to utter it off and on. Coder, arms, cups. Ask, anytime you ask them what does coder stand for, what does arms stand for, what does cups stand for, and they're ready with the answers. Yes, this again is a group activity. See, this coder is an umbrella acronym. Whenever they get any topic to write an article or letter to the editor, they have to follow this process. C, collecting ideas. O, organizing ideas. D, drafting ideas. E, editing the draft. R, rewrite, that is final draft. So I would insist beta process follow karni hai when you are indulging in long writing tasks. If you follow the process, you will produce a good piece. If you don't follow the process, the piece won't be good. You won't be getting good grades. And time and again, I would tell them you are learning English at two level. One English you are learning to face the board examination. Another English you are learning to improve your spoken ability, your written ability, so that when you go to universities or the colleges later on, you don't face difficulty, the difficulty that Dr. Preetham has been talking about. So I have been trying to equip my learner with all those things that they would need later on. Yes, so these were writing skill tasks. See, what does ARMS stand for? When students are organizing their matter, that they have collected ideas and then they are organizing, I would tell them apply ARMS. ARMS is, A stands for add a word, a phrase or sentence, remove a word, a phrase or a sentence, move a word, a phrase or a sentence, substitute a word, a phrase or a sentence, meaning student may need to apply these points. Kahin hatana hai, kahin fix karna hai, whatever the need of the task is, they can. This simple acronym will resound in their mind, and they will feel like कि हाँ I have to check, I have to apply arms. And after they have written their say rough draft, then they were editing. When they were on the editing part, they were supposed to check their cups and see. Cups, C stands for capital letter, use, usage, P punctuation mark, and spelling. This way, this acronym helped me. Maybe they were not following it in letter and spirit or totally, but still I would keep on insisting, follow the process, and tell me what it is, and show me your rough draft and all that. I have been insisting on these things. Yes. So yes. Yes, when they were collecting ideas, they were in a group. They are preparing mind map on these, say, collecting ideas. This again, they enjoy preparing. So these were some of the activities that there were many more, and these were some of the activities that I felt like sharing with you people. And these have been the basis of my research paper too, and with good results. Yes, I would also like to talk about some activities of vocabulary building. I have missed it in between. That is there in the slide. Please, this is Freire model. Yes. While dealing with the chapters, we come across so many difficult word, new word, and I taught them to put their difficult word in Freire model, and this is how the Freire model go. Here the difficult word is written, here the meaning is written, here its usage is written. This one is for synonym, this one is for antonym, and they would prepare Freire model of certain difficult words of the chapter, and their notebooks have those things with them. This is vocabulary building. And one more vocabulary, say, enhancing, or I mean to say, from passive to active vocabulary building. The work that I did was vocab quiz. After a lesson is done or few lessons have been done, randomly I would utter certain word, a word from any chapter, and I would ask them, tell me from which lesson this word is, what is the context in which the word happens. And the student, if they know it, they come up with the answer. If they don't know it, then they had to revisit the chapter and find where does the word happen and what does the word mean. So these were some of the activities. This was regarding vocabulary. Yes, now I will be talking about, yes. These practices were carried on for 2 years. Initially, when I started with these things, students were, to be honest, they were not much happy. They didn't like that reciprocal reading when they have to do a lot of, they themselves have to interpret and summarize and come up with the explanation, questions and vocab. I mean to say, they resisted. They said, no, ma'am, we can't do this and that. But then I had to, at time, I had to revert to the old traditional method too, at time explaining the things to them, explaining the chapter to them, but again going back to those activities and all, and explaining them the benefits of such practices, and I mean to say, convincing them these are for your benefit, you will be improving your presentation skill and all. I persisted with these things, and at the end of the, say, 2 years period, see how it went. It was enjoyable and kept the student engaged, involved in the classes, enhanced the confidence in my learner, improved their communication skill, both written and oral. And this is something to be stated. When the class 12th results were announced, our school English result was second in Delhi state. And I was the one who has been teaching them for 2 years, 11th and 12th. So the result clearly proved that the practices have been okay. Yes, see, there were 160 students in my classes. 79 students got marks 90 plus, and only two students scored 73 and 74 respectively. Rest all others scored above 75, so that clearly prove that the practices have been okay. So the results speaks volume about the practices taken in the class. This I have already stated. Initially my learner resisted change. At times I went back to traditional method. Yes, and I have been seeking their feedback too from time and again. Yes, now I'll be concluding my this presentation with this thing. Yes, I feel that our teachers need, I mean to say, there should be continue, say, teachers should be given continuous professional development. Teachers should be equipped with such type of activities and games, and not only activities, knowledge of games and activities, they should be given, say, knowledge of digital platforms too, so that we could carry out more and more things into their classroom imparted to the student. Teachers, I would say the teachers don't have so many things in their, say, um, box with them, so much activities to be taken in the classroom. Yes, these were the all that action research were carried out in a face-to-face mode. After when this COVID situation happened, then we changed our classes to the virtual classroom classes. There also I carried out with many of the novel activities which my student enjoyed. They have on the online platform too. They have been giving presentations, sometimes creating narratives, sometimes mini sagas, and they have been working on their written communication, writing articles, writing letters to the editor. So much so that so much material was pouring from my students. So many things are coming from their side that we came up with the idea of publishing e-magazine. And in the last year 2020, with the class 12th student, in all that online say mode, we could publish two e-magazines, and all that was the work done by my student. It was a type of project for them. I was again there. I was working as a manager or as a facilitator. That's all I have to state regarding my say presentation. And thank you everyone. Thank you to all for this patient listening and all. Thank you everyone.
So that is a highly influential paper, madam, and your presentation has been crystal clear. So from the beginning till the end, I was enticed by the way you presented. And second, the type of games, it was totally new and out of box thinking. That is what we want at the present situation. And many of the teachers, well, they will be clubbed with this work or that work. They can't think on their own. And if we have some experimenters who come up with their ideas, and if we all put together our own ideas, so that will be for the betterment of the future generation. And since you have done this in your school, it could be extended further to university students and other college students. So this will, I hope that it will definitely help them. And I would like to try out this reciprocal reading in some of my classrooms. And let me share my results with you. So there are a lot of appreciations pouring on the chat box. You could have read that, right?
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ma'am. Everything has been happening in my classroom. That's why I presented
keep sharing all these things in journals so that we could read and we could also try to put that into practice. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your work.
Okay. Thanks.
So let's move on to
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Hi, this is Rajesh. Good morning, ma'am. This is Rajesh Bharda from GGM Science College. Actually, this is a wonderful lecture. It's honor to be here to you. I heard you, and this is great strategies you told us. But I just is in my mind that nowadays, if we see students are losing their ethical values, and they are whenever we have seen. I stayed in Delhi. I stayed in Bombay. I stayed in Dehradun for 8 years almost altogether. And I have seen students have lost certain things. That is, a teacher is passes by, they click on selfies, they keep on clicking selfies, they are busy and chatting, they share some, we can't say, but they share this loose talk they can do. You are passing by and teacher is passing by. There is a suggestion from my side, is it possible to introduce certain subjects in schools and basic classes, that student should have these values, कि when teacher is there or some elder is there or anybody is there, so what to say, how to react. And if you see, they are nowadays students are big liars nowadays. They lie to their parents, they lie to their teachers, they lie to everyone. And I'm not saying that we are not, we are also, because we haven't given that type of values. Our parents tried, our teachers tried, were, but I think, but we are not up to the mark. So isn't it there that we should introduce certain subjects in basic schools classes, so that the improvement is there? Nowadays in COVID situation is getting bit along. I can see people are looting and getting the chance to loot, because some want oxygen cylinder, some want medicine, 2 rupees medicine, they are selling 100 rupees because they don't have that values. So please throw some light on this, if you got my point.
Yes, Professor Rajesh. Uh, in our schools, we continuously keep on working on inculcation of values in our student through various, say, mode in the assembly time, some house meetings, and through delivery of our, I mean to say, even our curriculum, our syllabus, we do work on inculcating proper values in our student. Not that the schools are not working on this area, they are working and working a lot. And in Delhi, lot of work is going on in education sector. Our education department has
We also
started
talk about happiness. We are doing.
happiness. Yes, I'm coming to that. Yes, our education department has come up with this happiness curriculum. In through that happiness curriculum, we are imparting values to our student, life skills to our student, and for senior student, there is an entrepreneurship mindset curriculum. We are working on their decision making, problem solving, risk taking ability, and all. A lot of things we are doing. No one can blame the teacher that they are
Yes,
not.
ma'am. I
Or
totally agree with you. Even in university level, we have been imparting with ethical
Yes.
values in the children. The first year of their study, we have a special paper called Indian ethics and values, where we teach the values based on Puranas, Itihas, and the sayings of great people like Swami Vivekananda, or Mahatma Gandhi. So all these try to
Yes.
impart, inculcating those children. Even
Hello,
level we are
hello,
doing.
ma'am. Hello, Bharti ma'am. Hello, Asha ma'am.
Yes, sir.
My name is Abhimanyu, and I'm a communication skills trainer. And Asha ma'am, I heard your, I went to your through your presentation. It was very useful and helpful. I'm sure it would be very helpful to me to teach writing and speaking and listening skills to my students. Thank you so much for sharing the knowledge. Now, Bharti ma'am, with your permission, I would like to add a few insights to what Professor Rajesh Bharadwaj has said.
Sure, sir.
So,
If you could be brief, that would be good.
yeah, I would be very brief. My point is very straightforward, that all the moral and the ethical values, only we can't put it, or they can't be taught by the teacher through a subject. Moral and ethical values can only be learned at home. So unless and until parents are not aware of it, or parents are not strict about such kind of moral values, we teachers can't do anything.
So it's like here I would like to intervene with you.
Just a moment,
as a parent myself, I too try to impart the values in my children, but still, they take advantage of the
yes. Now the second thing, here it comes. Here comes, Bharti ma'am, the second thing, the role of media in it. Unless we are keep on listening to Honey sings those vulgar songs, and a child get very comfortable singing in front of the parent, and listening to it multiple times, getting it into subconscious mind. So that is how media.
Not only that, their media, role of media, and also
yes.
peers.
Yes. Yes,
The
and parents are, these are
parents.
the nuclear families, ma'am, these days. Parents have to work, they can't focus on a child
Uh,
more. So, this is a very dicey situation, but certainly children are more dependent on YouTube and media for all
uh,
such kind of values. So, media needs to be controlled and we
Media
should do
plays a
something.
great role. Yes,
Yes,
I do agree
that's
with you.
all. That's all I have to
Thank you,
say.
sir. Thank you for enlightening. So now let us move on to the third paper presentation. This is a joint paper presentation by Ms. Navya Sri, Assistant Professor, Department of English, and Ms. Tejashwini, Assistant Professor, Department of Psychology, Surana College. And the title is A Study on Behavioral Attributes of Special Educators and Facilitators in TLE. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Namaste,
Okay.
and good afternoon to one and all who's present here. Firstly, I would like to thank for giving us an opportunity to present our paper in this 3-day international conference. To introduce ourselves, myself Navya Sri RM, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Surana College, and here is my colleague, my friend, and a co-author to my paper, that is Tejaswini Y, Assistant Professor, Department of Psychology, Surana College, South in Bangalore. If you give us a
Hello, all of you.
So I welcome both of you to present your paper.
Good
Thank you
afternoon,
so
ma'am.
much, ma'am. Good afternoon. Ma'am, if you give us a permission, I would like to share a PPT.
Sure, sure, you can.
Yes, ma'am. So moving
Please
into.
carry on.
Thank you,
Yeah,
ma'am.
move on.
Thank you, ma'am. Today we are going to present on our research topic, a study on behavioral attributes of special educators and facilitators in TLE. First, let me define TLE, that is teaching, learning, and evaluation. Teaching can be defined as the involvement with the learners to enable their understanding and application of knowledge, where learners can be defined as the process of gaining knowledge from various aspects, like they study the skills and with their experience as well. And moving to evaluation, this helps in improving within the program or the course to review the progress of learning from time to time. The main focus of special educators and facilitators are like special educators, they are being trained to deal with a specially able child or the one who's having difficulty in learning the concept in normal classroom. And obviously it varies from one student to another student. We can't take everyone has one, like we have to show a differentiation without their knowledge. Where special educators have been trained how to tame them and to nurture them, and they also involve the parents in additional requisites in educational process, because without the help of parents it is not easy for special educators or facilitators to deal with children, because they want to know how their environment is. And facilitators also varies from one person to another person, whereas it differs in every sector. Now, and they are the one who provide and support encouragement to do work of the pupil to do their best in and outside the classroom. Well, talking about the role of special educators and facilitators, yes, or a teacher, they play a vital role in education sector. We all know that, and we should actually call ourselves as a special, because we are the one who give. We are the givers, and I know we are slight selfish in this matter, because every child does best, and we want every child, this the selfishness what we have within ourselves is that every child should do best in and out of the college, and they have to be best in all. In this moving further, we as special educators, as I told you, that they are being trained to tame and nurture the students for day-to-day life, and this helps them to keep assessment on every individual, or a pupil has some of their impairment in progress and some are not, and some actually need a medical help. If you take an example of a student who has this autism disorder, he lacks in social skills, as he have this repetitive pattern of behavior. Ma'am, is my slide being displayed?
No, Navya. Actually, slide is not being displayed.
No, it is in the first
How
slide.
about now?
Yeah. Yes, it's moving. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
So here, coming back to my presentation, where as I told you, when we talk about the disorder kid, he lacks in social skills as he have a repetitive patterns in his behavior. So he tries to avoid meeting people, or he tries to avoid opening up to everyone, and this makes him to isolate himself. And some, they go under a peer pressure. For them, to all the autism, those who go on a peer pressure, the counseling plays a vital role. Why this counseling is required is to make sure that student intervene to achieve their goal. With the help of facilitators also, we can and parents, it is easy to keep a track on student. Special educators, with the collaborating with the facilitators, can make a plan of action, as every student is unique in their own ways, and this action is or can be called as individual education program, that is IEP. It helps students to fulfill their needs to achieve in areas like academics, social growth, and also in career development. This IEP especially helps for the students who come under age 16 and above. Facilitators, they also keep a track on student to know their activities and to mentor them. By this, they actually divide student like advanced learners, slow learners, or exempted students. And sorry, I'm actually hearing the echo of my own voice. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Sorry. So here, exempted students, and they also take up a remedial class. The classes are conducted to those who are in need, and those who face difficulty in understanding the concept in regular class. Sometimes facilitators, they also act like a psychologist by counseling student and to understand the problem faced by a student. For this, we actually went on, or we refer to the writers, the one who have published the papers, to execute and to understand more, or to get more ideas on it. That is, we refer to one writer who had written in 2005, Cherry M. Jorgensen and Mary C. Such. They stated that since 1980s, the role of special educators has shifted drastically, and the process of educational law and the practice relating to a student with disabilities has moved away from gaining student access to education and towards enhancing student academics. And we also refer to one of the other writers in the year 2016. They have told that that is Malcolm D. Dawson and Benjamin Kraft, they have told that they have effectively discussed student action and academics in classroom. No voice teacher must improve a foundation teaching skill. The TLE here, which says Teach Live ETM, Stimulation Laboratory, is a virtual classroom that is used in teacher educate program to component typical didactic teaching and field experiences. For this, keeping all this in mind, the copious concepts were used by special educators and facilitators in teaching aids like social communicative skills, personality related disabilities, like Asha ma'am told about the gaming, puzzle, pictography, and many more. When they conducted this communicative skills workshop, to make students to understand, or the pupil to understand, that communication is not just a verbal one. The communication varies from verbal communication, non-verbal communication, textual communication, written communication, sign communication, picture communication, where they can understand the concept using all those communication in their life. And to make aware of them, the communication can also be defined in a various forms. And We also know the fact that a student varies from one person to another. For this, the data analysis, what helped us out is that we had framed a questionnaire with the 15 questions, and our sample size, just a minute. This is a role of educators and facilitators. And then moving to our methodology, we used 50 special educators and 50 facilitators with the 15 various questions to understand the special educators view and the facilitators view or the teachers view, how they can be more creative and how they can interact with the students and how they make classroom as a lively classroom. So here the first question was found on sorry.
Sorry to interrupt, Navya. Your slide is not being changed.
How about now, ma'am? Sorry. uh, I'm actually changing it.
It is still in the introduction.
Oh, can how about now, ma'am?
Sorry, it's not happening.
Can I stop presenting, because I don't know why I have given for slide option, but it's not moving, and I'm doing it manually as well.
No problem. You can
Continue.
continue.
You continue.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Sorry for the inconvenience caused. So here our first question was found on special educators in designing pedagogical, keeping ICT as the main concept. So here 100% was given from special educators, where they give their 100% in designing the pedagogical to make students to feel free to communicate in any case of difficulties, and the effectiveness in their design was 100%. By this, it resulted that learners overall development, which is most important for any aspects, like for the special educators or the facilitators or the teacher, learners development plays a major role. And the other question which we framed was the usage of a smart classroom, who use more. So in this case, we found that 92% of them, they have this knowledge of updating and upgrading their technological knowledge, and they also use ICT in an abundant form, like sharing the present example, sharing PPT, and because of the my technical issue, or maybe because of my network issues, I'm not able to shift to the slides. So here talking about the ICT, where they use for abundant purpose, like sharing the links, sharing the videos to students, or making them to understand classroom, taking up class online, like using MS Teams or Google Meet or Zoom or any other platform which is available for them. And 80% they accepted that usage of ICT is least in them, because they have this habit of teaching in old method using chalk and duster. Which later on they also accepted, because of the present situation what is happening all over India, they want to develop their knowledge on ICT, so they can conduct the classes online in a better format. Further question was focusing on TLE, where special educator used this TLE, where about their professional style. The professional style used by both special educators and facilitators, where special educators, they use this mentor-mentee style, where they divided student and themselves like 1:15. One special educators, under them 15 students come. And because of this, it was easy for them to keep focus or keep a track on all 15 students. And the other method what they used was game based learning style, like how Asha ma'am told about keeping the gaming session, where they used was certain teachers, they used the dumb charades as well. And they also kept a gaming, where how to manage a time, keeping a game. and time management, which plays a vital role while they are facing exam. So this helped them, and 80%, 89% of their result showed a positive reply, where students actually accepted this way of learning. And facilitators, they conducted, or their way, or their style, the way is to communicate with the other form. Even they used a game learning style, where they use the games in a different way, asking them to use their knowledge to narrate a story by picking up a chit. Whatever word they used to get, they used to narrate a story based on that. This is how they try to make student to develop their knowledge and their creativity. And then when the question was asked on the dedication, or on their dedication towards teaching, both of them manifest their interest towards teaching and facilitator. And facilitator, they also accepted that they have to develop ideas with the help of special educators. And this clearly gives us an idea that they are ready to accept it, and they want to develop more, keeping concept of being creative. And this gave us 100% idea. And then our final question was based on like whether they are organized or not, and are they adaptable or not. So for this, the question for this, we got to answer that special educators, they were more organized than facilitators. And for this, we also asked as an example, how can you just justify telling us that special educators are more organized than facilitators? They gave us an example of a counseling room and their labs. And when they were talking about the counseling room and the lab, they told, when we are not organized, we being givers, when we are not organized, this gives a negative impact on student. And the student won't what come forward to show his or share his aspects of what are the things he is facing in his life. So when we make ourselves organized, we make or attract students to come and share their difficulties or their views on their teaching, on the other teaching aspects. So later on, facilitators, they also accepted that they have to be more organized than special educators. So the ratio was like the ratio or the percentage came like special educators, they gave 100% for their organizing manner, and facilitators, they gave 82% for their organizing manner. So in our findings and suggestion is that the collaborated knowledge helps students in advancement of communication. Like if facilitators and communicators, like they also told that special educators and facilitators, they collaborate to develop student all over development. It may not be just a communication, it also helps in personality development and the skill development. So the collaboration is very much required, and they are also being collaborated. And month wise parent teachers meeting will be conducted to know their parents and to collaborate with their parents, and to make them to understand that what are the things they are facing in a college surrounding or in their classroom surrounding. And it also helps special educators and facilitators to make their parents to understand this is what exactly is happening in their own kids' life. And next thing is usage of ICT and in a present scenario.
Navya,
Yes,
Navya,
yes.
sorry to interrupt you. Could you be brief?
Okay, ma'am. I'll just.
Yeah, one more paper presentation, right?
Yes, ma'am. Anyhow, I have just 2 points to explain.
Yeah,
Here the various workshops were conducted by facilitators and special educators. coming to a conclusion where keeping the special this survey, it helped us out that special educators give out the various ideas to demonstrate their class compared to our facilitators, and facilitators, they also accepted and the usage of teaching aids by both facilitators and special educators in the process of clearly showed a positive impact on by using a creative and different approaches to teaching process and communicative skills. Social, cognitive, emotional, and psychological development of children are in the hands of the teachers, and teachers plays a vital role. As I told, teachers are special because they are the givers, and teachers, facilitators, or special educators, they have to make themselves available for students in their overall development. By this, I would like to end my presentation.
So that is an elaborate presentation on teaching, learning, evaluation in special educators. Thanks to both of you, Navya and um,
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for
Yeah.
giving us an opportunity.
The way you have presented it is quite interesting, and as far as I know, in many of the universities, they have already implemented whatever you had been discussing. For example,
Yes, yes.
take my own university, we have a collaborating teaching learning process where you have a special educator as well as a facilitator. We mentor the students, combining together, and we offer some FDPs, and we do are forced to sometimes at times, to attend such a FDP so that we can equip ourselves for the betterment of the students. As you said initially, each student is unique, and we have to cater to the needs of all those learners, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Very much
Great
true.
presentation, and congratulations to both of you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you giving us an
Audience,
opportunity.
if you have any questions, you can put in the chat box. Later, we can share it with the presenters. So now let me move on to the final presenter, Mr. Anand Rakmaji Vakmare. He's a research student in English literature in Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam University, Indore. And his paper is on the role of multilingualism in education. Over to you, sir.
Can you audible, ma'am, me?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes. Very good afternoon to all. I am very happy to be the attendance of this wonderful virtual conference. I am Mr. Anand Wagmare, a PhD student from Department of English, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam University, Indore. At present, I am working as a teacher in English. My today's topic of presentation of multilingualism and its role in education. Let me start with permission.
Yes. Please, sir.
Yes, ma'am. See, now this is the India is a support social linguism a monster, and this monster is immense and unique, considering the customs. The nerves arrangements of this monster multilingualism. Indian multilingualism is tremendous in size, with more than 1,600 primary languages, reducible to about 200 dialects for the populace of about 1.27 billion individuals, with the number of inhabitants in a considerable a lot of phonetic monolithic beings bigger than numerous European nations languages is human personal. It's a co-evolves with us, and a monolingualism with even in typical conditions and uncommon marvel. It passed a creative minds in a setting. For example, India, where English has a considered with a native dialects over a significant stretches. Truth to be told, greatness of a multilingualism in India has made researchers wonder about how a correspondence occurs and how friendly unknown is kept up. The present paper analyzes the role of multilingualism in the education sector. MLA 8 edition has been used to be cite a reference. Now see the particular is there from ancient age to be a present global time. India has been a multilingual country. Through more than 4 centuries of known history, the poetic families which are considered together have persistently collaborated with one more and accomplished pan-Indian characters, which is novel itself initially in the matter of sentence structure and also in the quantity of shared things of jargon. Truth is told that actual words has now entered a period of globalization where the marvel multilingualism has become the standard. Multilingualism in India is a result of its set experience of also impressions of its arrostated societies. Schools assumes crucial part of the looking after multilingualism. Furthermore, furthermore, in changing its inclination, making arrangement of the improvement of English, Indian dialects beings at a school level guarantees. In principle, that is a permits is a multilingual base of the proceeds for the understudents understudies the inspiration of the family familiar with a few dialects imperatives for from benefits which may conveyable to go about the motivations for the finding out more and more dialects. These benefits range from a better position to getting charged out with the assault films, pursuing a magazine and a discovery. The multilingual, multi-techniques and a multicultural characters of India require the consideration of few dialects of the educational programs for the school language, education and the society and multilingualism in India instructions. Studies uncover that the comparison in the school instruction, the consideration of few dialects in the school education program is not viewed as an extra burden. Be that as it may, in the satisfaction of their goals, understudies run over a few changes from our instructive curricular and on natural reasons. The main ones among them arranged by divided trouble hours, difficult to learn punctuation of various dialects, no occurrence and utilize the language of practice, and third one are the additional instruction at home and numerous different subject to learn. In this connection to one more finding to the observe as teachers mostly emphasize the environmental and curricular difficulties and attribute least number of problems of the pedagogy of language teaching. However, according to the students, these least number of the problems arise from the curricular form. In spite of the difficulties, the students continue to work since they are highly motivated to learn several languages and are encouraged to reach a task by their parents. We regularly receive an instructors offering explanation. For example, multilingualism might be extraordinary sources throughout the everyday life, except it is the significant obstacles in instructional methods. Such expressions make two cases about a multilingualism. One which is regards a reality, also the other with regards to instructional method. In both these specific circumstances, albeit this the development of multilingualism is sometimes very similar, it is applied to various spaces and individual and study hall separately. The development shows up to be that multilingualism infers the presence of more than one particular language in the given space. There is a familiar maximum: a man who knows two dialects is identical to men. This is a sense an individual to who can talk numerous dialects can speak with the individuals from those language bases effectively and consequently have to more extensive public activity and easily fit in a new spot. In this way, multilingualism efforts parcel of a self-rules to an individual and a resources regarding acknowledgement into the alternate language culture on the off change that the foreigner can communicate in the language of the local. It individuals is viewed as part of the local area. So, though likely this acknowledgement offer suspense that all is well and good is the individual and consequently turns out to be vital of the his or her affluence. A multilingual classroom be that as may it's isn't the same multilingual person in a multilingual classroom setting. Replacements having a place with the various language bases sit together under the one rooftop. 8. They may or may not have the opinion to convey among themselves. This gets trying to for the educator as the C can't show the public who don't comprehend the language she talked. There are few occasions for the such difficulties and instructor. In this way, the entire multilingual classroom of the above natures unwillingly. Always teaching method similarly incorporates space past studies and hall connection. For example, competitions reading material and multilingual crowds are considering confidently to various language speakers. The teacher is successively changed with the impossible test, a common arrangement against the departability could be that a different to teach foreign language in classroom where is the huge change to community. It would require a individual process in instrumental integrative motivation. And now I'm going to come on my conclusion point. Studying the way that the etymological science of the Indian is very intricate. We have not paid enough thoughtful regarding a language issue and instruction in relation of their power and useful significance in the whole system. It is the important to receive the logical methodologically to systematic use training and take into the account of the components of the normalization of the language in plural social order, multilingual and a multicultural schooling required. Aside from the inspirational perspectives to discover varieties, a degree of a presentation capability in the language of the study hall, and that the students and a significant level of the ability is instructing the comprehension of the social cycle is considered inadequate without a comprehension of agreementative connection between the language, schooling, and society. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Given the chance for my presentation.
So that is a crisp presentation by you, sir, Mr. Anand. And supporting multilingualism in the classroom can be a valuable pedagogical practice with more positive results, which will give a good academic performance from the side of the students. To sum up what you have already said, valuing students' linguistic and cultural background, especially in a country which has a multilingual background. We should encourage the use of their languages, multilingual languages in the classroom, rather than asking them to be monolingual, which is in contrast with the other papers which has been presented previously. But still, I would like to support this particular aspect where they will have their learning ability, they will put their learning ability more into practice so that they can master more languages rather than sticking into one language. Congratulations.
Yes, okay. Thank you, madam.
Yes. And audience, do you have any questions?
Ma'am, am I audible to you?
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, sorry for the interruption, ma'am. I failed to get the schedule for the seminar, and today I got the permission to present the paper in the 11th session, that is 12:30 to 2 p.m.
Okay,
Can I present
okay.
my paper, ma'am?
Yes, yes. You're welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I am Mrs. K. Priyamol, PhD research scholar from Kanyakumari district. And my title of my paper is Tenebrosity of Partition in Shiv K. Kumar's River with Three Banks.
Yes, you can begin your presentation, Ms. Priya.
Yes. Okay, ma'am. Okay. Learning is the process of acquiring new understanding, knowledge, behavior, skill, values, attitudes, and preferences. Human learning starts at birth and continues until death as a consequence of ongoing interaction between people and their environment. The nature and process involved in learning are studied in many fields, including educational psychology, neuropsychology, experimental psychology, and pedagogy. There is a concrete relationship between learning and literature. Literature rapidly increases our learning. We learn through experiences, either our own or those of other people. Literature amplifies our exposure to a range of situations and events that would otherwise take decades for us to experience ourselves. Literature allows us to live other lives. Importantly, we can explore with an honesty and safety that is generally unavailable to us in our day-to-day life. We don't have to compromise. As Emerson wrote, in the works of great writers, we find our own neglected thoughts. Through literature, we develop emotional connection with characters and a shared community. And though these experiences, we start to learn ourselves and others. The main motive of education is to shape and mold one's character, personality, and behavior. But man, in today's civilized and globalized society, forgets the aim of education and learning and behaves arrogantly, disrespecting, hurting, and menacing others. Education enforces us to live in unity and extend a harmonious relationship. But man, though being civilized, lived in disunity and without peace of mind. Shiv K. Kumar brings man's menial attitude of disparity and harassed behavior through his novel, A River with Three Banks. A River with Three Banks highlights on the partition of India and Pakistan and how tyrants, sadists in the name of religion, harass innocent people, indulge young poor girls into prostitution. Man turns brutal, and brutalization is a noteworthy threat to the well-being and health of women, and today it has become a serious public health issue too. Violence against women varies vastly depending on the type of the brutalization bestowed upon them. Among all, dehumanization, physical and sexual assaults leave a strong and long-lasting imprint on mental as well as physical well-being. Gautam states, women were the worst victims of partition, having to endure not only the destruction of their homes, displacement and violence, but also abduction, prostitution, mutilation, and rape as they become a sign through which men communicated with each other. The prey and the predators belong to all serious economic and cultural classes where violence and abuse is executed in every nook and corner of the society and family as well.
I think the presenter has left. The presenter is not here. I think there is some network issues from her side. Priya, are you there? Is Priya? I think the presenter is
Ma'am, I request you to conclude now.
Yeah, sure. So I think already we have run out of time. That was an interesting paper. Sorry, we could not listen to it fully. But anyway, to conclude, all the papers which I had been listening to are quite interesting. The first two are mature papers, and the last two, to complement it, was like that. And on the whole, it was quite enlightening, and it takes the message, carries over the message, how we as teachers, educators, have to keep on learning to how to adapt to the present situation. So I thank the organizers once again for providing me this wonderful opportunity, and I hope that all of you are staying safe during this pandemic situation. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, as Bharati ma'am, for such a wonderful session and for chairing the session
Thank you,
so
sir.
wonderfully. And the paper presenters were flawless, and they presented the paper so well and equally answered the questions asked by audience. And it was a wonderful session with you, ma'am. Thank you so much for being
Yes,
there.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you,
Such a
ma'am.
lovely- Yes.
And with this,